Hi, welcome to Classic Car Cave. So, yeah, I want to just thank everybody for the support they gave me on the last video. It's more than I normally get. I mean, if I can get 600 on a video over a period of weeks or months, that's about as much as I can get. I guess a lot of it has to do with my age and obviously the content, because obviously YouTube won't promote or push the videos. It is what it is. The very fact that I am monetized and demonetize everything obviously puts me in another category. They don't like it because they can put some adverts up but not that many, and obviously the channel isn't big enough. I mean, it's tiny little thing in comparison to other channels that are around. So, but anyway, as I say, I just want to thank you for your support on that. There was a lot of messages about people taking stuff into a store. And I've done it many times. I couldn't count the number of times I've done it where I've gone in with a bolt and what have you. And I do tend to go to the counter and say, look, you know, I've got this or whatever. But it's something I will do and make sure that they know that I brought this with me to check whatever it is. So maybe it's something to think about. And as I say, I'm not sure if I want to pursue this or not. I went today to Interspar to do some shopping, and the lady the manageress that was there on Monday when this incident happened wasn't there. She's not back till next Monday, so maybe she's a kind of roving manager, I don't know, who speaks perfect English. I might just talk to her and say to her, look, you know, as this guy reviewed the footage that he's got, does he now realise he made a mistake and so on. I mean, I don't want to see anybody get fired, of course I don't. I do feel a bit aggrieved about it because being accused of something you haven't done is pretty annoying, to say the least. But I'll sleep on it till next Monday and see how I feel then. Maybe I'll just let sleeping dogs lie and let it go. Anyway, this video. So I've had quite a few people make some comments. In fact, one particular chap has a 1100 special, and quite a few people have said they're really interested to see what we're going to do with this car. So we have some ideas. I've talked to Jeremy, and I haven't talked to his son Toby. I have in the past, but not this time. And we've got some ideas of where we'd like to really upgrade this car and have it so that it's comfortable to drive, it's better on the roads in Croatia and so on and so forth. So I will definitely document all that, and I hope you'll come along for the journey. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to get changed, and I'm going to start working on the engine, or I'm going to start the engine up. I'm going to do some checks, and I'll go through those basic checks. Now there's lots of this on YouTube. There's lots of mini people, lots of mini work, but I'm just going to show you the basics that I'm going to go through just to make sure, because we're taking the engine out and the front subframe, this is a perfect opportunity to re-gasket, or possibly to do a cylinder head or you know, cylinder head gasket, whatever. And there are some leaks on the car, so I want to check where those leaks are. But one of the fundamental things I want to do is make sure that the engine's in good health, but also that the gearbox has not been damaged in this accident, because the drive shaft took quite a bit of the brunt of the accident. The fact that it smashed the CV, I've not even taken it out yet, the constant velocity joint, but I would imagine the cage is mangled, and possibly the drive shaft splines are buggered as well. Now that would have shock loaded obviously onto the differential, and I want to make sure there isn't any damage there, because when we have the engine out would be the time to check it. So I hope you enjoy the video and come along with me for the ride. So I want you to have a look at how the engine bay looks at the moment, and you can see it's not particularly nice in there. I think we can do a lot better job than that. And there's a few things I can see just by looking straight away. I can see that heater hose, or the heater valve, is leaking, which is a common problem with the minis. You can see where the rust is on the bottom of it, so that's dripping. And this radiator here is loose. The bolts have come out the side. Yeah, and it doesn't look particularly tidy. It looks a bit rough in places. So what I'll do is I'll check over the engine first. I'll show you the results of that, and go through a few things that I intend to do before I take it out today. Quick basic tips here. This is pretty obvious, but just in case you're just starting on something like this. So what I've done obviously is I put a couple of cloths either side of the bonnet so that it doesn't damage the scuttle panel. One of the things you want to do, if the bonnet is in very good condition and the shut lines are good between the bonnet and the wing, it's a good idea if you mark where the hinges go. This one needs a bit of changing on it, and we're pretty au fait with these cars, so we know exactly where they should be. But it's a good idea just to mark them so you know where you can go straight back on and get it almost alignment straight away. So, quick tip, I'm going to take the bonnet off now and I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, so I can see that both the drive shafts are turning. That's just the drag in the differential doing that, but you can see this flopping around, so I didn't want to leave it on too long. And obviously the exhaust manifold is damaged. You can hear it it's not even going down through the first silencer. It's broken somewhere, obviously on the elbow somewhere, I would imagine. So that's going to be quite noisy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hub off here and see what the story is with the half shaft, or sorry, with the drive shaft, and because I can't have it turning like that, and I'll leave the other side on just now, but I'll take this one down because it's going to do even more. I don't want more damage to the inside CV joint on the differential side, but they are turning, so that's good news. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to do now is I've put the wheels back on and just put 2 bolts on each wheel. I just need it to keep it off the ground. What I'm going to do now is move this center pit jack here, and I'm going to move it back here because obviously I need to be able to get the subframe out. I could take the exhaust off first because I can see there is damage to it. That might be an option, but I can still get to it afterwards anyway. After I've put the, I've got a part off my rotisserie jig I can put on the front and lift it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drop it down on its wheels, bring this center pit jack back so I can get to the rear sandwiches on the rear rubber mounts on the toe board. So I'll do that now. There we are. This is our back garden. Oh, come on, focus. There they are. There's there 3 of them. It's weird, you know, you're working away and then they come down and have a look in your garage and see what's going on. Looks like 2 folds and a mother, I think. These are roe deer, so I've been informed, and they are very small. But look, how cute is that? As you can see, I've got the drive shaft out on this side. I've just put the caliper, just put a couple of bolts hand tight in there. I was going to put some wire on it. Shouldn't leave these flexi hoses hanging, it's not good for them, stretches them too much. But because it's all coming out together, there's no point in taking it apart. Here, I might as well do it on the bench. Now, the strange thing is, when I look at this CV joint, this is the inner pot and the inner CV here, and this is the outer. And strangely enough, apart from a bit of obvious damage where it's been catching on it as it's been pushed or dragged onto trailers or wherever it was recovered, they actually still go on and they still seem complete, but I wouldn't risk it. For the price of a CV joint, it isn't worth taking the gamble that hasn't done some damage, but I will take them apart just to have a look. What I could do, if for instance in this case, if you wanted to make the car mobile, what you could then do is just take the outer CV, pop it back in and put the hub on, and at least make it movable as far as you're pushing it around. But that's one way of doing it, is just putting this end pot without the drive shaft on it. But what I've done is I've put a second pot in there, and the reason I put that one in was because obviously you'll lose all the oil out of it. And if you look on this spare, it's the engine from the Mark III, if I can get it now, and you can see I've got 2 pots on there. It's just to stop the oil coming out, but most of the oil's leaked out of this anyway. So I had it with me, and the second I popped the joint, I put the one from there, from that engine into it. So there was only a tiny little bit of oil loss, because obviously I want to run the engine, and I don't want to put oil in it and then flush it again and lose it. So I've got the bonnet off, put the nuts back on. If you can, it's a basic tip, but if you can, try and put nuts back and bolts back where they were, if it's possible, because you'll end up with a bunch that you don't know where they go. So next thing is now start the engine again, go through the gears, and what will happen now is obviously the power will go to the wheel with the least resistance. Now obviously that least resistance is on the driver's side because there's no drive shaft. So although this will turn to a certain extent, there will always be some drag to a certain extent, but all the power will go to the other one. So what I can then do is go through the gears and make sure the gears are okay, and then I'll check the engine over as well, and do a few things. But as I said, I've noticed a few things already. There've been problems with it overheating, but straight away you can see this is wrong. Look, the bolts have come out. These bolts from the side have come out, and you can see that should be tight in there. Now that might not seem like much, you know, this is just off to one side, but it's still held. The problem with that is this is the whole point of these shrouds. If they're not close enough, the shroud doesn't work as well, and it doesn't suck the air through it and obviously cool the radiator. So that can be the difference between it overheating a little bit and not. Plus probably the radiator needs a good clean. Anyway, so the next thing is I'll start it up. It's very noisy. The exhaust is damaged. There's a big crack in the exhaust, but at least I can check, do some vital checks on it before I take the engine and box out.